And I'm assuming we're recording. I'm seeing a little red light there. Welcome in,
I
everybody.
see that. Yeah, we're down there.
Right down there. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the most must-see fantasy football ramble that films at
3:42.
It's 2:42.
Oh,
2:42 our time. That's on Central Time for some reason. Because Central sucks, and we've got to help them out as much as we can.
once upon a time, there was the NFC Central Division. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in the same division as the Packers.
Yeah, back when there was 3 divisions in each conference.
Fun fact of the day.
Yep, the Arizona Cardinals were in the NFC East.
Were they?
Yeah, they were a Giants rival for a while. Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Absolutely not. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I am your host with the most, Mr. Garrett M. La Laguna. The M this week stands for my team likes to throw fisticuffs, I guess. And we'll talk about that here in a second.
Okay, cool.
And my co-host with the most, Mr. Tony S. Burgess.
The S stands for sold. I'm buying a house. That's
right on. Hopefully buying a house.
Hopefully.
Putting in a
put in an offer today.
Offer for it. So
and we'll see.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Very cool. Congratulations. Hope you get it.
Thank you.
Just because, I need a place to go and party at from time to time.
Hell yeah. You all invited to my place to party.
So yep. Open invite to everybody on YouTube that watches this video. Open invite to Mr. Tony S. Burgess' house all the time.
Boom.
For partying.
Hell yes.
But in the meantime, we got the NFC East that we're talking about this week.
We do.
Yeah,
very interesting division.
We are moving right along in our divisional previews, going right through. We're past the halfway point. We have 4 weeks left of this, and then we got 1 week of draft preview, and then we're kind of there. Yeah, at the very end, man. I think football starts tonight, in fact.
What?
Yeah, Cowboys and Steelers play the Hall of Fame game tonight.
That's tonight? It might be.
I think so.
I'm just out of connection of sports, apparently.
But I believe that happens tonight. Don't quote me on that, but I believe, in my mind, I'm 91.782% sure that football starts tonight. So, hey, we got football, and we got preseason football at that.
Football.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have 20 people break their ACL during week 2 this year.
Hopefully not.
But as I said, we are moving right along, trying to get into the NFC East, and we're just going to bomb through this division because there's not a lot to really go through. What?
I'm getting a phone call.
Getting a phone call. Does he need to take the phone call?
It's my realtor.
Oh, if you want to step off to the side
I might have to. Hold on a minute, people. This isn't important.
All right, well, you got me for a second then while he goes and does this.
I can't even get myself undone.
You're not going to get into it on time. Oh. Got dropping mics and everything. So he's off dealing with that right now. So I got you guys here for a minute. So I guess before we hop into the NFC East, I want to take a minute to let you guys know we will be figuring out draft order for the entire league tomorrow. We'll be doing during the company picnic, playing songs, a song to represent everybody, and we'll be counting up from 10 to 1. As soon as the songs are in a playlist, I'm going to hit randomize, and we're just going to go from there. First song to play, that'll be who picks last in the first round. All the way up to whoever song plays last, they will be the first pick of the draft. So we got that going on tomorrow. Should be relatively straightforward, but I mean, it's cool. We're going to have the draft order set this early. That way we can work on, planning and, shit like that as well. In addition to that, I will be sending out emails here soon for $10 buy-ins. if we want to still do the $10 buy-ins. If not, that's cool. We can move up if we want, but I'm not going to go back down to free. I don't think I want to go down to free. So, because I like a little bit of a prize at the end of the season. Last year, I wasn't able to give Daniel the jersey that he wanted necessarily because a Travis Kelce jersey, a stitched Travis Kelce jersey, is damn near impossible to find. Everybody loves that dude. Everybody wants his jersey. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But we'll try and do the prize to the best of everybody's, what everybody wants or what the winner wants at the end of the season this year. So I guess with that said, you know what? I'm just not going to wait for Tony. We're going to hop directly into our previews because I'm on a limited lunch break. So I got to get out of here. I got to get home. So I can't be waiting for him. So you got me. And you're going to love me because I'm awesome. So the first team that we're going to talk about here is the Washington football team. They took first place in the division last year at 7-9. Kind of a really pathetic division we have going on here. But Washington has decided to make a couple moves this offseason. They signed Ryan Fitzpatrick and they got rid of Alex Smith. Alex Smith, I don't know if he was the comeback player of last year. He probably should have been. That dude is a beast. Don't know where he's going to yet this year. Haven't seen him sign with anybody yet this year. But Washington football team has brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's probably going to look to make some of that Fitz magic again come this year. It'll more than likely be their starting quarterback. Curtis Samuel was also brought into wide receiver from Carolina. Had a decent year last year, pretty middle of the pack, but definitely somebody that you wanted to play. I believe he ended up ranking as a wide receiver 2 at the end of the year. So, fairly good team that Washington has going on right now. As I said, at the quarterback position, they have Ryan Fitzpatrick and Kyle Allen right now. Kyle Allen coming from Carolina a couple years ago as well. He replaced Cam Newton. Didn't really do too much last year. Didn't shine terribly much. So, I assume right now this is Ryan Fitzpatrick's team to lose. As far as running backs go, no longer a secret, no longer one of the best kept secrets. Antonio Gibson, he was a beast last year, really racked up the points and really just showed out. I mean, he had only played like a handful of running back snaps before the start of last year. And with a relatively depleted offensive line last year, Gibson still was one of the top running backs in the league. End of the year, he was number 15 overall, which is absolutely fantastic for somebody on a team that we did not expect terribly much from. He's also got Lamar Miller coming in to help out a little bit. I don't see Lamar Miller or Peyton Barber really taking that many snaps away from Antonio Gibson. Gibson seems to be the guy. He is going to be their long-term guy for the future. And I don't see anything really changing with that. Gibson is definitely a high draft pick. I would pick him up probably second rounder. Tight end for this team, they got Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas was a beast last year. He was the number 3 overall tight end at the end of the season. It's weird. He's weird because, he's quietly good, it seems, Logan Thomas. He just he's there. He never really has those huge weeks, those shining weeks like a Kelsey or a Kittle or anything like that. But he still manages to go out and be consistently good to the point where he was the 3rd best tight end last year in fantasy football. As far as the wide receivers for this team goes, Curtis Samuel, as I was saying, They also have Scary Terry McLaurin. I like that kid, even though I'm a Giants fan, obviously. Scary Terry McLaurin is a relatively good player, probably not as good as where he's being projected to be drafted. I wouldn't take his ADP position right now, but McLaurin is still really good. And Washington did go out and pick up De'Ami Brown. I believe that's his name. I could absolutely be butchering it, more than likely. They picked him up in the 3rd round, 19th overall selection. So, I don't know. They're hoping, I guess, that he kind of shows up. Maybe he is that slot guy. Who knows? Who knows what's going on with him? We'll see what happens. Yeah. But this team went with kind of more hoss positions in the draft. They went with a lot of linemen, defensive, offensive linemen, edge rushers, people like that. They obviously got a wide receiver. I want to say they also got a late round wide receiver as well. But nothing special, nothing to write home about. They just went and kind of solidified their infrastructure, if you will. Good team. They won the division last year. Let's see if they can do it again. I kind of like Fitzpatrick, and I think he can bring a little bit of that magic to the Washington football teams. Moving on from them, though, team that's near and dear to my heart. My boys, the Giants. So the Giants had somewhat of a productive offseason this year. They went out and they made some moves in free agency. They went out, they got Kenny Golladay, one of those really coveted wide receiver free agents this year. Paid him a shit ton. Probably well more than he was worth. We'll see. Dude's already injured. So who knows how that whole thing is going to go. But that's what the Giants do. They tend to take people that are 3 or 4 years past their prime and just kind of hope and pray and throw some Band-Aids on it and, piece something together. Who the hell knows what's going to happen, though. But to that end, again, they picked up John Ross, another player that is like 3 or 4 years past his prime. Super quick, though. We'll see what happens with him. And they picked up Kyle Rudolph, tight end from the Minnesota Vikings. So that's what they kind of did in offseason, as well as solidifying their defense, going out and picking up a couple of key cornerbacks and helping out that defense. They tried recently to sign a good lineman to help shore up their offensive line in Joe Thuney, but then he retired a week later. So we got Joe Thuney, and the dude's just gone. He's just like, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like what's going on here. Don't like the culture. Don't know, necessarily what's going on. So he just decided to peace out. I'm not sure what happened, but it could stem from the massive brawl that happened in the practice on Tuesday. And if you don't know, this is what happened. Apparently, Corey Clement was taking a ball up the field, got popped by Logan Ryan, and got taken down pretty hard. Evan Ingram decided to take exception to that and run up and pop Logan Ryan. Then a giant team-wide brawl broke out. They say that Daniel Jones was at the bottom of the brawl. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, it shows that your quarterback has heart, but it also shows that he does not have much as far as brains go. And then, next thing you know, the rest of the practice was spent doing sprints and doing push-ups. Don't know what this really means for the team. I know that fights happen in preseason. In training camps, I've been part of fights in training camps, not NFL level or anything like that, obviously, but there's a lot of testosterone flying around. There's a lot of, hey, we're finally able to hit somebody for the first time in like 6 months. So, yeah, there's definitely some issues, but who knows kind of what's going to happen here with this team. Who knows if they actually, if it was a big team building thing or if now there's just animosity going on and it's not going to be good. I don't know. But moving on from that, Daniel Jones will be the quarterback this year, at least for now. I personally say this is a make or break year for Daniel Jones. It's his third year in the league. So he could very well have a pretty good year. The learning curve can finally catch up with him, or he can have an absolutely piss poor year. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm hoping for, he has a better end because he's got so many weapons around him. At the end of the day now, he's got a lot of weapons around him. Saquon Barkley is back. Yeah, he's still on the physically unable to practice list, but who knows how long that'll last. A lot of people are saying he's going to be good for week 1. Will he? Won't he? I don't know. That's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on, especially if I'm in the middle of the first round choosing making my choice in the draft. Behind Saquon, just in case, he goes down again, you got Devontae Booker again. You got Alfred Morris, who they just brought back, and Corey Clement. So that's kind of your running back core right there. I don't know how many of them will stick around. I don't see Alfred Morris sticking around for the season. Devontae Booker and Corey Clement, I can definitely see them sticking around for the remainder of the season. But Saquon is the guy. Saquon's the guy that you really want to focus on. If you can get him, awesome. If not, maybe look for that crutch in Devontae Booker or Corey Clement.
And here's your special guest.
Back to holla at us. Somebody buy a house?
It's in the process. Writing up the contract.
Writing up the contract. Wow.
Or, it's the contract for an offer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Giants suck.
Yeah, I've kind of moved on to the Giants and started doing stuff like that. So yeah, I was talking about Saquon and, if we should handicap him by picking up Devontae Booker or Corey Clement because Saquon is technically still on.
What about
physically
Alfred Morris?
Alfred Morris was literally just brought back 2 days ago. He'll probably be around for preseason, and I don't see him being retained through the regular season.
Yeah.
I don't see why they would bring him in. Devontae Booker, they brought him in as a free agent, big money free agency signing.
Okay.
And Corey Clement, I'm not sure when or how exactly they brought him in. I know it was free agency. Yeah. I don't think they spent a lot on him. But, yeah, I see him being around because he's younger and quicker, stronger than Alfred Morris.
Yeah, Alfred Morris, I think, is getting up there in age now.
He is, definitely. He's been in the league for 9+ years.
Yeah, that's long in the tooth for a running back.
Absolutely. In the tight end role, you have Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph now.
Oh, yeah, Rudolph.
Yeah, they got Rudolph, another player that, as I've been saying, is, 3 years past his prime.
Yeah.
So who knows what the hell is going to happen with him. I wouldn't put a lot of draft capital on him. I'd put him more into Ingram if you do have to draft a tight end from this team.
Did Ingram have – I thought he had like a down year last year, did he not?
He kind of had a down year last year. He was 13th overall.
Which is still not
horrible. It wasn't bad, but when you only have one tight end per team and you only have 12 teams in your league, he's just outside that cusp of where you want as a starting tight end. He did okay in the second half of the year, but he was very just consistent at right around 10 points per game. Never really did a lot. Never really had a huge standout week. Mm-hmm. So that's my feeling with him. And then the wide receivers here, it's kind of they have a lot of wide receivers right now, a lot of really viable wide receivers. Now, Galladay, as I said, is injured. He's dealing with a hamstring thing that he picked up on Tuesday. Darius Slayton, he's back. He seems to be healthy and going strong. I don't know why they picked up Galladay when I felt like Slayton could have been that number one guy for them. But
And you got a guy in the first round too.
yeah, and then they go out and pick up Kadarius Toney in the first round.
That's weird.
And
Tony's the last name.
yeah, Toney. I thought it was Tooney for a while, but everybody's just been calling him Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
And we only really got him because the guy that went to the Eagles, Devontae Smith, the Eagles traded in right in front of us, literally the pick right in front of us, and stole Devontae Smith, who we were probably going to pick up.
Yeah, they knew it too.
Which, again, is really dumb. Why have, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Kenny Galladay on your team, and John Ross, didn't even put John Ross on there, and John Ross, and then pick up another wide receiver? I personally feel that Kadarius Toney was a stretch, and they drafted a kick returner in the first round, ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're really that confident in the receivers, huh? Okay.
I mean, Galladay can be a really good receiver when he plays. Last year, he dealt with injury most of the year. Wasn't on the field terribly often. But when he's going up for contested balls, he's the best wide receiver in the league at going up and grabbing contested balls.
Yeah.
And God knows with Daniel Jones as the quarterback, you are going to be grabbing a shit ton of contested balls.
Right.
Or just poorly thrown shit. So, yeah, I personally see Kadarius Toney as a glorified kick returner, and we spent a first-round draft pick on a kick returner, which is absolutely stupid. We only had 6 picks in our draft this year. 4 of them went to defense, all of which were terrible picks, personally. And I feel like the Giants pissed away all 6 of their draft picks. It was a terrible draft, #fire Gettleman.
Tell me how you really feel.
I fucking hate Dave Gettleman. I think he's a piece of shit
Okay.
and needs to die in a fiery pit of death and snakes.
Now this show is rated M for mature.
On to Dallas now. They can all die in a pit of snakes as well. No. That statement being said, Dallas, you absolutely suck on your website. You don't give me a goddamn transactions page. So I don't know who you picked up. I don't know who you let go of this year. So screw you guys. I don't care who you brought in. Dak is back.
He is back.
Dude was on dude was going for 6,000 passing yards last year.
Well, I mean, how many games was it?
He was only in 4 games.
Yeah,
he lasted a quarter of the season, but it was on track in that 4 games for 6,000 yards in the season.
Well,
so he's looking good in training camp. I doubt he'll play any preseason games, but I see Dak as being a starter week 1 and being a really high draft pick.
yeah, I mean, with Andy Dalton that came in last year, right? He was trash.
Yeah, and they don't really have anybody to back him up this year. Andy Dalton is gone. They just don't have anybody good. Nobody that I even felt necessary to put on this list.
Yeah.
So you got Dak back, you got Elliott back, and I think with Dak back, Elliott's he's gonna have a reemergence of a year, because he had a down year last year.
And it's probably because no one thought they could pass anymore, and it was true. With Andy Dalton at quarterback, there was no chance.
And he also dealt with some injuries and stuff too. Apparently, when Dak is on the field, Elliott averages about 23 points per game in fantasy points.
Yeah.
When Dak is off the field, he was averaging about 12.
Yep. And I don't know if I would draft Elliott or not, but
I would wait to see what happens with the Cowboys and seeing if everybody is remaining healthy and what the starter situation looks like come week 1. Yeah, they don't have the offensive line like they had a couple years ago, but they have good enough wide receivers, man. Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup are 3 really good wide receivers for this team.
They are.
And they'll take away a lot of the focus on Ezekiel Elliott because, I mean, end of the day, you got Dak back in there. You got 3 tremendous wide receivers. You can't load up 8 in the box.
No.
You can't say, okay, Dak Prescott, beat us with your arm because, by God, he will.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. Dallas, it's going to I don't know if you would say Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat or not yet.
He is.
But he's been pretty trashy so far with the Cowboys, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
As much as I loved him on the Packers, he never changed up his offense. He always wanted to do the same thing, never wanted to change up from year to year. And it did well for us in the first couple of years in the Packers. We won the Super Bowl, but then everyone kind of learned what we do on offense and
can easily game plan for it.
Yeah, and then he went to Dallas and he's done not that much of them. So we'll see how this year goes. I would think that if they bomb it this year, then McCarthy's gone.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially with how temperamental Jerry Jones is, as much as I hate that guy. So tight ends on this team, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz. Blake Jarwin last year was going to be the year of Jarwin, but then he got injured. So it became the year of Schultz, and now they have 2 really good, viable tight ends on that team. So Dallas is really a stacked team.
They're on paper they are. It's just, there's this, again, the coaching is going to be a big thing to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. And if everyone's healthy, if Dak Prescott's healthy, if everyone is there, and they go under 500 this year, I think that's McCarthy going away.
Yep, absolutely. They really focused on their defense this last year. 11 draft picks for this team, 8 went on to their defense. So they were really trying to help out that piss-poor defense that they had last year.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's what really hurt them in the end. Dalton did okay. He kept them in games, but that defense was just terrible, one of the worst in the league. So.
Yep.
On to the Eagles. They didn't do much in free agency, so moving on from that. They have Jalen Hurts as their quarterback this year, and Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
No, they got Jalen Hurts. That's going to be the guy to pick up this year for them. He's he's probably going to have a really good year because he can run, he can throw.
Maybe. I don't know.
First full year. Let's see how he does.
Yeah, we'll see. They got a new weapon at receiver, and we'll talk about that. But they've had no receivers for a while, and they've also had a really shitty O-line.
Yep.
So hopefully they improve both of those areas. And obviously Carson Wentz now in Indianapolis. We'll be interested to see how he does. But anyway.
Yep. They still have Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, and Boston Scott. They did bring in Kerryon Johnson. Carry on my wayward son. Yeah, Kerryon Johnson. We will carry on our wayward son. So
there you go.
I liked him back in the day. I liked him when he was a Lion. I don't think he's going to do much this year, though, if he even stays on the team. It's going to be a year of Miles Sanders and probably Jordan Howard.
Probably.
So, moving on from them, we got Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, and Richard Rodgers.
Richard Rodgers, I remember you.
Yep, from the Packers. I remember Rodgers to Rodgers all the time back in the day.
Yep.
I say Goddard is probably the guy that you want to pick up as far as a tight end goes on this team.
He always gets more catches, it seems like, than Ertz.
Last year, it was definitely Goddard over Ertz. Ertz was dealing with some injuries, but Goddard was the guy.
Yeah, no, I like him. Ertz has kind of been a disappointment for me in fantasy the past couple years. But Goddard, he gets his catches.
Absolutely. I don't expect much from Richard Rodgers. We'll see what happens with him, but he's kind of the third guy down on the depth chart right now. And then you got Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith. Those are kind of it. They lost Alshon Jeffrey.
They did.
They really don't have any other name wide receivers on this team. And Reagor really didn't do terribly much last year. He was dealing with an injury, but, I mean, he was a top prospect. He can have a breakout year. And then Devontae Smith as well. I mean, drafted 10th overall this year.
Yeah,
he could have a good year as well.
He would be one that I would probably be interested in trying to get because because of the fact of they don't have anybody else really. I mean, they have the tight ends, which they rely on a good bit, but Jalen Reagor hasn't done that much, and I think Devontae Smith, that they drafted him at 10 overall, was thinking of him as being as potential being one of the top receivers in football.
And wanting to keep him away from the Giants, a division rival.
That too.
So, yeah, they think really highly of him. He could very well be building a great rapport with Jalen Hurts, and that could be a great combo this year. So last year, some of our rankings that we had, no real great quarterbacks in this division, with the exception of Dak Prescott. But that's, he only really didn't do well last year because he was injured.
Are you saying Fitzmagic is not worthy of being a top quarterback?
He was 28th overall last year. Yeah, he keeps his teams in games, but he never, not really, I'd say that fantasy relevant.
Yeah.
So 28th last year, projected for 32nd this year. Jones was 24th last year, projected for 26th. Dak Prescott is projected for 7th. So you might want to keep an eye out for him. Jalen Hurts projected for 14th.
That's pretty high. Okay.
Pretty good for him, but again, in a one quarterback league, that's outside of the top 12 or top 10 as we would be looking for and wanting this year. As far as running backs go, of this group, Elliott was the best last year. Even though he had a down year, he was still 9th overall, followed by Gibson at 15, and then Sanders at 18. The rest, Saquon was injured. Devontae Booker was 49th overall. But they do have a couple of the guys projected in this division for fairly well ranked.
Where do you think Saquon will go in the fantasy football draft, considering the fact that he's on the physically unable to perform, right? So he's going to be out the first 6 weeks, right?
No, they can pull him off as long as he doesn't start the season on the physically unable to practice list.
That's the key.
I think that's the deadline right there. If he does, he's out for 6 weeks. But we'll know that before we draft and what's going on with that, hopefully.
What would you draft him at if he's still on the PUP? That'd be tough.
If he's playing, he's a first rounder. If he's on the PUP, oh man,
it'd be tough.
It's tough because do you waste a roster spot and keep him rostered on your team, on your bench, and waste that spot for up to 6 weeks potentially? Or do you just let him sit in free agency and hope maybe a week or two out you pick him up and only waste the roster spot for a couple weeks?
Well, he's not going to go undrafted. I would draft him no matter what, but
I don't personally see him getting drafted. If he's on the PUP list, I probably would not look at him above the 10th round.
Really? Wow. Fair enough.
Just because,
good to know.
Good
to know.
It is good to know. Or am I just telling you that because, round 7 or something, I'll sneak in there and just, Saquon,
Motherfucker.
So, he's projected for 8th this year, the best projected of all these guys. Elliott for 17th, don't really see that happening. I could definitely see him being better than 17.
Yeah, no, if he makes it to the second round even, I would be like, all right.
Yeah, I don't see Elliott making it to the second round. I see all of these guys being, I see Gibson being the only second rounder of the draftable guys, or Gibson and Sanders being the only second rounders of the draftable guys in this grouping, because Saquon, Elliott, you'll draft them. They're going to be high first round draft picks. Gibson, Sanders, second round draft picks. Booker, pick him up in the end. Yeah, really when you look at it. So.
Yeah.
As far as tight ends go in this division, Thomas was number 3 last year, projected for number 6.
I didn't know he was that good. That's quite impressive for a former quarterback. He was a quarterback.
I did not think he was going to do that well. I did not plan on that at all. I thought that Tunyon was going to have a better year, and I want to say I had both Thomas and Tunyon on my team. And I got rid of Thomas because I was just like, well, you're doing terrible right now, so screw you. And he still ends up 3rd. So besides that, Schultz might be the only other guy that you really want to look at Ingram as a backup, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's it as far as tight ends in this division. Not a lot of really awesome wide receivers either in this division. The Cowboys 3 are probably going to be some of the better ones. Cooper projected for 12, Lamb for 16, and Gallup for 34.
Yeah.
Galladay at 25. Do you think Galladay is going to be a 25th ranked wide receiver, or you think he's going to do better?
No, I'm thinking around 25 probably.
Probably about right for him.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Maybe a little higher, but
I could see around 20.
yeah.
If he remains healthy all year. Shepard at 22. See, that's the one thing that really boggles my mind. How is Sterling Shepard projected to be higher than Galladay? I don't see Shepard at 22. I see him in the 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see Slayton in the 30s as well, not at 70.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy for that one.
Yeah. Samuel is projected for 19. Scary Terry is projected for 38.
Wow, that's quite low.
Yeah, it is, considering he was number 16 last year.
I mean, probably because of Fitzpatrick being the quarterback, but
Possibly.
I don't know. He's still, even though Fitzpatrick does throw a lot of INTs and is kind of sloppy sometimes, he still throws for a lot of yards. So I don't know. I think he'll still get his opportunities.
I think he will too. He's going to just huck it, chuck it football right down the street.
That's what Fitzmagic does.
Yeah.
He just chucks the ball. There are bad quarterbacks that just can't get 100 yards passing or 200 yards passing, but Fitzmagic, he'll get 300 yards, but he'll also throw 2 or 3 picks. But that's why he's where he's at.
Yeah. As far as defenses go this year, don't draft any of them.
Yeah, they're all.
Washington was the best last year at 6th. Projected for 16th. The Giants were 13th last year, projected for 24th. Philly was 15th, projected for 17th, and Dallas was 21st, projected for 27th.
Yep, all regressing apparently.
All regressing, just terrible teams, and yeah. So, well, I think that's it.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah. I need a couple more people to send me
The songs.
Songs. I think I'm just really waiting on Aaron right now and Daniel. And if Daniel doesn't send me something, I'm using Aqua, Barbie Girl, for him.
Love it. Love it. He's on PTO, so.
I know, but I've been talking to him directly over text message.
Okay.
So I have his cell phone number. I've been talking to him and sending him texts, and I let him know I was going to use Barbie Girl for him if he didn't give me an answer. And I'm warning him. I'm letting him know that he needs to pay attention. So, but I think that is it for this week. What do you think, sir?
That's it.
That's it. So that was our NFC East preview. Next week we'll be coming back with the AFC East, talking Patriots football and shiza like that. So, yeah. Tomorrow we're partying.
We're partying tomorrow here in the Westy office. So
yeah. So
sucks to be you guys who are not going to be here, which is probably everybody that's watching. But
if anybody watches, I know that Jen watches, and again, thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. But I think that should be about it because I got to run.
Go.
So for my co-host with most, Mr. Tony S. Burgess, the S stood for
Sold.
The
place is sold, or not yet, but
hopefully.
Yep.
And I am Mr. Garrett M. La Laguna. The M stands for my team likes to throw fisticuffs. And I explained that in the video while you were gone.
Okay.
But I'll tell you after this. So I think that's it. That's our video for this week. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week on the next episode of The Ramble.